All right, well, we're gonna just dive right in. I imagine you're here because you found yourself at one point recently saying or thinking like, I'm really tired, or I just wish I could get caught up on sleep and not feel so exhausted and get ahead of my energy. Well, the good news is you're in the right place. Today, you'll walk away with a new understanding of energy and how to get it back in your life. And the thing of it is we're here because we've helped hundreds of women in your shoes. If you haven't met me before, my name is Lexi Nussbaum. I'm the founder of Power Pose. We are a functional health company that I started in 2020. We focus on whole body health from the inside out. And so we've seen in our process, our functional reclaim health formula, women change not just how they feel on the outside, but actually how their body's functioning from the inside. So we address your hormones, your nervous system, habits, routines. And a lot of our clients come to us as moms feeling low energy, irritable, suspecting hormone or gut health issues, and they're ready to feel like themselves again. And so we quickly realize that motherhood as a mom, you set the tone of your home, and I've noticed that in myself as well. I'm a mom of two. I have a 2 month old and a 20-month old. And while my passion has always been health and fitness, I was actually one of those kids that was in their car seat in the gym with their dad. I actually started lifting in junior high, so just a ton of experience through my childhood in fitness and health. I started in corporate America and I wanted to climb the corporate ladder. Like that was my goal. That was what I thought I wanted to do. But then I felt this calling to be a mom and turn inward. So I learned quickly that moms set the tone of the homes. If we're in a bad mood, everyone feels it. If you eat unhealthy, that's what the kids know growing up. And if we feel overwhelmed, our kids pull away. So my mission is to help moms find whole body health so they can have motherhood like they want. They can have their dream version of themselves, dream version of their home, dream version of the mom that their kids grow up with. So today with me as co-hosts are two coaches from Power Pose, Michelle and Emily. So I'll let Michelle go ahead and introduce herself first.
Hi, everyone. My name's Michelle Moore, and I've been a health coach for about 5 years now. And I'm also a mom to an almost 1 year old as of this month. So that's exciting. But before coaching and before mom life, I was like in the more corporate setting as well. But that season is like really where I would say my health journey began. And I had to learn like how to feel my best within like a full schedule. And that meant like building routines and habits that worked like in real life for that schedule. But I would say through like that experience on my own, like that really created just a passion for helping like other women feel their best too. And I would say like not just physically, but also, mentally and emotionally, looking at the whole in like encompassing whole body health approach. And that's what I would say, like my passion, like is what started like my own journey led me into coaching. And I would say just like over the years through like different jobs and life shifts and now like motherhood, I've built just a lot of confidence in knowing how to pivot and what health looks like in different seasons. And I mean, it comes back to all just having the like same foundational habits. Even though it might look a little different through different seasons, the foundations stay the same. And that's something that I strive to teach others and to show others how to do that as well. And then I would say one thing that I like really deeply believe is like you can fully show up like in your life as a mom, like taking care of yourself and dealing with your kids. One, because I believe you're like fully worthy of that as an individual, as a human. But two, when you do that, it's going to create this ripple effect down. Like you become an example for your kids in how to live and how to move and how to care for yourselves. And exactly what Lexi was saying is like, she believes she's, sets the tone. Mom set the tone. I'd like to think about my role as a mom as like you're the thermostat of your home. Like you do get to set the tone. So I'm glad you're here, and I'll go ahead and pass it over to Emily.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily. I am an integrative health practitioner at PowerPose. Also a mom to an almost 5-month-old little boy as of next week, which is crazy, time's flying. So I am very much in the thick of figuring out what rhythms and routines work for me and support my energy in this season of motherhood. And my passion for this really comes from my very own health journey. I spent years dealing with chronic fatigue, migraines, a missing cycle even, and every time I searched for support, I felt like I got another medication or hormonal birth control thrown at me without ever getting to the root of why my body was doing what it was doing. It really wasn't until I found like a functional health doctor. Where things really started to shift for me because for the first time I felt like someone zoomed out, looked at the big picture, and helped me understand my body instead of just trying to mask symptoms, instead of trying to essentially put a band-aid on a bullet hole, doing something that really wasn't fixing anything. So from there, I kind of went the functional health route myself, continued my education, worked in a chiropractic office where holistic health was part of the model, and I really loved that. I learned so much in that. However, I saw a huge gap. It is one thing to get a protocol, to get recommendations, and then not have support on how to actually make it work in your real life. And that's where coaching comes in. Now, being a mom, that piece hits even harder for me because it's one thing to know what works on paper, to know what like you should do, what works in an ideal situation. It's another thing entirely to actually implement it when you're running on broken sleep. You're trying to feed a baby, make sure everyone else in your house is fed and has what they need. Maybe you're running kids from one like sport to the next or whatever. And so that's going to look totally different than, you know, a piece of paper that your provider may give you. So a big part of what I care about now is helping moms feel like they're not doing this alone, that they have someone in their corner helping them make things simple, realistic, doable in whatever season they're in. So I'm grateful we get to spend time together and excited to dive into the all this.
Yay. Okay, thanks, girls. So I'm curious, we're going to talk through energy. And Michelle, why do you think so many moms feel exhausted even when they technically get enough sleep? Like in the case that they get, 7 to 9 hours, let's say, or even like six. Like, why do you feel like there's this level of exhaustion still existing for them?
Well, you'd think like getting enough sleep would be the ultimate answer, which it definitely helps. I will say that. But I think most people don't, or most women don't realize that there's more to it than that. Like, I think there's two sides of the spectrum. There's the like mental, emotional side of like energy, low energy and fatigue. And then there's also like the physical side of things. So I'm excited to like touch on both of those through this conversation, and just kind of paint more awareness around both of those sides.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good point is that there's really two sides to fatigue. And so let's talk first about the mental side of things. So when your mind never gets a break, honestly, and it's hard, especially for me and a lot of our clients and women that we work with, this corporate mentality turned mom, where you just have your mind always on and your body ultimately pays the price. And so really two things move the needle here, and that is routines and mind management. And a lot of the clients or women that I talk to are really on this like hamster wheel. And the hamster wheel looks something like this. Like they have a to-do list, but they're really exhausted, so it's very challenging to complete it. So they check, let's say, like one thing off. They get frustrated about that one thing, and it's annoying. And then they go to bed and they wake up and they have that day's to-do list and the day prior that's half checked off. And that's also frustrating, and things in the house kind of start to unravel, and this cycle builds. And at one point, there's like the mom explosion, and everyone's like, okay, all hands on deck. Like, let's fix the house up for mom. And it's good for one day, and then that cycle seems to continue. So I'm curious, Emily, why do you think, or in your experience, why do women often resist routines even though they crave what a routine would give them, like peace and stability and predictability? What comes to mind, do you think?
Yeah, just like you were saying, like moms have a checklist that some days is a mile long. And so we have a million tabs open. And I think sometimes developing routines feels like just one more thing to do, one more box to check. And it we almost like resist it because we feel like it's going to lead to overwhelm. It's also one more thing where if you're kind of coming from a perfectionist mindset, it's like, oh gosh, this is one more thing that I have to do and give 100% and pull off perfectly. But in reality, routines help close out a lot of those tabs. It helps to simplify things. It helps make things automatic where that checklist is now simplified and just kind of part of who you are and what you do. So, in reality, the routines really support you, support your health, support your overall, like how you show up as a mom, because it simplifies a lot of things.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. And if I think back to even like, okay, so I'm 2 months postpartum with my second, a routine has really kind of saved me, because it's kind of a combination of remembering to do certain things and being clear on what they are. Like that's when I think of routines, those are kind of the two pieces that stem from it. And so one of the things that is like remembering to do a certain thing is this like habit stacking concept. So for me, a couple things that I habit stack, and that basically means if you're going to already do one thing, you can pair a new habit with it. So like I almost always have a smoothie in the morning, and when I started breastfeeding, I want to take my vitamin D supplement, and so I just put that right beside my blender, and so it's just kind of like automatic. I'm making my smoothie, having that, and then take my supplement, and I don't forget it because it's right there. You can kind of do that with a lot of things, actually. Like if you make your bed in the morning, you can turn your morning sunlight exposure, like happy light or red light or whatever you're doing, on, and it's like a two for one kind of deal. And I think getting clear, back to like the second part of routines, getting clear on the task, it definitely takes practice because I think sometimes it can feel like your brain is just full of half thought thoughts. But if you can get clear on what the tasks are and get clear on the next steps, it takes out the overwhelm. So my daily checklist really helps me do that. Like when I have my daily checklist and my routines there, it eliminates the question of what I should do next. So yeah, I don't know. That's just kind of like a personal side note.
Yeah, Lexi, one thing I like to say is like make it easier for your brain. Like you're learning new habits and it's not like on you to be like, oh, I just forgot to do that again. It's like that's just it's hard sometimes to create a new habit and to create a new routine. So if you're setting yourself up that way, like, oh, the vitamin D is like right next to the smoothie, like you're just gonna be like, oh, that's automatic, or having a written checklist. So I like again, make it easy for your brain and put things in place that are actually gonna like help you to do that. But
Yeah.
I think like the routine side of it is huge and the checklist side of things is huge and can help kind of take some of those like half-baked thoughts that you're talking about. But even on like the thought side of things, I think another big piece to like mental fatigue and what could like continue to wear us down is like mindset. And when we think about mindset, I'm talking about like the thoughts that are like in your brain and the thoughts you know that are there or the thoughts that you don't know are there yet. So like scientifically like how it works, and we're not really like taught this, but to recognize, okay, you have a thought that creates like how you feel, and then that's going to create like what you do or what you don't do. And so I think it's easy to sometimes be like, oh, I'm a mom and that's why I'm overwhelmed. And so you assume mom life is the thing that is creating the overwhelm. There's no way out because you know you're not changing the circumstance of being a mom. But what's actually happening is you have a thought about mom life that makes you feel overwhelmed. So again, that could be happening subconsciously or like you're very aware of it. And maybe some of those thoughts as an example could be like, this is too much, or like, I'm not giving my kid enough attention because like I need to do XYZ like in the house. And, it just keeps going and going and going. And so I would say like when you're in the cycle of thinking those types of things, like that's going to be super exhausting because if you keep having those thoughts, like you're never going to feel caught up. And so that's why we're talking through like the mindset piece too, because like those thoughts aren't like giving you life or giving you energy or getting you anything that maybe feels like something that you like or enjoy. And so it's like, okay, You have the thought of like not giving my kid enough attention. That's going to create frustration or guilt or overwhelm. And then how do you show up out of a place of overwhelm, right? You're going to be like snappy towards them, or you're going to, it's just going to feel chaotic in your brain. So again, you're not changing the mom piece, but you can change like the thoughts portion of that. And I think that's like really powerful when you're recognize like that connection of what your brain's actually doing and building awareness there.
hmm That actually reminds me of one of the clients I'm working with right now. She, very high achieving, like working mom, works very hard, loves what she does. Her kids are in sports like year round, different sports. So she's running them from one thing to the next. She was like working out regularly, eating like healthy, quote unquote, before she came to us, but she was not getting the results she wanted. And her stress levels were through the roof. She was feeling completely burnt out, dealing with hives all over her face and body, and just generally like not showing up for her family the way she wanted to. And it's really, really been so cool. When we started working on managing her mindset, that's when all of her physical symptoms started to shift too. We developed a routine that made sense for her lifestyle. She was trying to work out 6 days a week. She was trying to eat in a deficit. Like, no wonder she had no energy. No wonder she was snapping on her kids and her husband. Girl was hungry, and just like physically exhausted. And then we also worked on thoughts that like shifted how she showed up in her marriage and with her kids. And guess what? When she began to resolve some of that mental and physical stress, the hives went away. She gets like one or two around her period, and we're working from now a physical standpoint to support her there. But the coolest thing about it is just like not only how it's affected her physically in managing her mindset, but how it's impacted her family. She sent me a message like a couple weekends ago. They like to go to the lake as a family, and she was watching her kids calmly play together, not fighting, not about to bite each other's heads off, just playing in the lake. And it made her realize how she felt so calm, and she's noticing they're having more calm days at home because like you guys said, like mom sets the tone in the home. If mom is calm, if mom has energy and she's taking care of herself, it literally like spirals and affects the whole family, and that can be such a positive thing. So that's just one client example that's been really cool, and it's been on my mind lately. Just how, yeah, when mom takes care of herself, when she works on mental and physical aspects, it just shifts the tone.
Yeah, that's actually so cool how a physical symptom for your client, Emily,
Mhm.
has gone away essentially with mind management. I mean,
Mhm.
that's just incredible to know and to witness how much our brain and our nervous system and what's going on inside triggers, for better or for worse, what we experience on the outside. So that's really cool. And we've talked a lot about different reasons why the mental side of things can cause fatigue and low energy. So let's focus in next on the physical side of it. And low energy can come in the form of physical. Usually there's a couple different reasons for that though, and solves for it. So for one, it's food. It's getting enough, eating enough of the right things, and minerals, which we'll talk about here in a second. And a lot of times moms can be eating healthy, but they're still not winning and they're still not where they want to be. And that is draining in and of itself, but there's certainly a deeper rooted issue going on. So I'm curious, or I would love for you to kind of describe what's going on in the background when that happens.
Yeah, like you mentioned, like a lot of the women that come to us, they're not eating enough, or they're eating the scraps of the snacks their kids didn't finish, or they're skipping lunch because they're worried about making sure everyone else has what they need. And that sets your blood sugar on a whole roller coaster. Basically, what happens is your blood sugar drops, and then your body starts pumping out cortisol and adrenaline, those major stress hormones, to bring that blood sugar back up, which affects your mood and it affects your energy. If you notice that, like in between meals, you're feeling shaky, you're feeling irritable, you're feeling really tired, it's probably because your body needs more fuel and your body is craving that balance, instead of this huge roller coaster that you're setting your blood sugar on.
Yeah, and I think one thing with that is like I think it's common to for women to say like, "Oh, this is normal. Like I'm a mom. This is like what's gonna happen. This is what's supposed to happen." Like, we know we're gonna have lack of sleep, and so we just like think, oh, I'm doomed to be like tired until they're, I don't know, out of the house. And then maybe you're tired because you're stressing about them being out of the house. I don't know. But you're thinking like, I don't have enough energy, or like, I can't wait till they go down for a nap so I can nap too. Or maybe it's like you're finding yourself as soon as your husband comes home, like you're snapping at him. And I think even like that time of month, like it comes around and your husband, kids are like, well, this is just how mom's gonna be. Like this time of month. But like again, that's like common, but it's not normal. And the reality is like these things are, yes, connected to like the mindset piece, like I talked about before, but then also like by internal health. And so like when I say internal health, I mean like minerals and hormones. And I'll often hear like moms or women just say like, I need to fix my hormones. And looking further than that in internal health, that's where like looking at like minerals and mineral depletion be a domino effect down to hormones. So yes, hormones, but yes, ultimately like minerals below
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, minerals and hormones are very much connected. Hormones are just chemical messengers. They're responding to their environment. So when other systems in our body are off, it's going to have this downstream kind of trickle effect. Physical and mental stress. So let me clarify on that because I think when we think of stress, we think mental and emotional stress, which is yes, a factor, but there's also that physical aspect here of like if you're not eating enough, your meals aren't balanced, you're waiting too long to eat. That's all stress on the body too, and that causes us to burn through our minerals at a much faster rate. Minerals are involved in literally everything. They're involved in hundreds of processes within your body. They are foundational, everything from digestion to adrenals to nervous system, literally every system from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet requires minerals to function optimally. So they're tiny little things that are very, very important. And again, this affects our hormones because when our minerals are depleted, when those ratios are off, our bodies recognize that stress and it prioritizes survival over fertility. It just want to keep you alive. And so that's where sometimes those symptoms pop up, which I know can be frustrating, but really it's your body's way of protecting you. And this is why we run an HTMA on every client that comes through Power Pose because it helps us to see where those minerals are at. It helps us to see how you're absorbing things. If the supplements that you've got in your Amazon cart are even worth buying, because if your body's not absorbing them, they're not doing any good. And so it just really paints the bigger picture and helps us point, like, connect your symptoms to what's going on in your body, if that makes sense.
Mhm. And then
Yeah.
just to clarify
Oh,
that
good.
HTMA is like the hair tissue mineral analysis. So it's taking
Yeah.
a sample, hair sample and deep dive into all your minerals. So
Mhm.
Yeah, and what I actually love about minerals is that they're tangible and that, you mentioned like the Amazon cart of supplements, like you got the vitamin C or the magnesium in your cart. And it's like, well, do you actually need those things? Is your body actually absorbing them, or is that the problem? And that's what an HMA part of what an HMA can tell us, but it can also tell us like how and why your hormones are functioning well or not. And so, like Emily said, a lot of times people think like, oh, I have a hormone problem. Like I've had kiddos, I've been pregnant, I've breastfed, all those things. I worked in a stressful environment, all of it. I just know my hormones are off. Potentially, yeah, they are off or wrong. And a lot of times the solve for it, if you're not thinking or if you don't know, is I'm gonna Band-Aid fix my hormones. And the reality is you gotta go deeper, and deeper is what's actually fueling, what's actually the gas for your hormones, and that is your minerals. So that's why we start there with our clients, and that's a huge reason why there's physical exhaustion or physical low energy is because there's just a mix or a discrepancy or imbalance in your minerals or the ratios of the significant ones. And I kind of think as a mom, it's easy to let days pass and just be on autopilot. Like if you're here listening and you're like, okay, you know what? Yes, this this is hitting me, but I'll look into that tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, and honestly, you're busy all over again. And you kind of live in this long-term depletion. And that's where we see symptoms like chronic fatigue, or I'm always just moody. And even if my kiddo doesn't wake at night, like I'm still tired. I go to bed early and I'm tired. And truly, you've got this, like I said at the beginning, this cycle of drain, and nobody wants that in the present moment. And also, everyone that I talk to wants to age gracefully, myself included. And we talk a lot about that from the exercise piece. Like, of course, having regular movement and building muscle and maintaining muscle so that you can age gracefully, pick up grandkids, be active, all of that. We talk about that a lot. But there's also the internal side of it too. And so, focusing in on what we're talking about today, the food piece, the minerals piece, the mind management piece, the routines piece, is really important because it too impacts how well we age. So I think it's very important to be loud and clear that feeling tired and low energy is not normal and there is a fix. And we've talked about, like I said, those solid ways to improve your energy, but you might be sitting there thinking, okay, how can I make this work? I'm looking for more support and wondering like how in the world it's possible to make any of it happen and what next steps you should take. So I want to just talk a little bit about a couple of our clients and highlight them who are both corporate women turned moms, like doing the dang thing. And at PowerPose, we focus on three main pillars that we know complete whole body health for women. That's internal health, nutrition and training, and accountability and mindset. And like we already mentioned at the start, our client's journey, we run two functional labs. One is a functional blood panel, and that second one is the HTMA, so the hair tissue mineral analysis. The HTMA, like Michelle said, is a hair sample. It goes to the lab, and from there, we're able to see your body's mineral status, ratios, deficiencies, metabolic type, and more. And as we talked about today, your minerals are truly the root of your hormone health. So, like people blindly treat hormones, and that's not actually their root. Instead, it's minerals are the gas, so to speak, for your hormones to do their job. So, for with our client Anne, the HMA was actually really telling. She works corporately. She has four young kids. I think the oldest of her kiddos might be 7 or 8. So she's in that like hands-on motherhood life season. She had daily headaches, bloating. She needed a lot of caffeine to get through the day. So what we actually did was we focused in on her gut health. We addressed her inflammation and different sensitivities she was experiencing. And we supported her thyroid and adrenals through lifestyle habits, food, and the right amount of short-term supplements for her. So she was able to build small, repeatable habits that are possible and sustainable for her. And the super cool part of it is that she knows how to edit them when her life seasons change. Because she's not always going to be a mom of 4 under the age of 10. She's going to someday be a mom of kids in, middle school age range. And her routines are going to look different. And the cool part is she knows how and has the tools in her tool belt to make those edits. And that has to do with all parts of her health and her health journey. And one of the things in our second pillar is actually nutrition and training. So within Power Pose, we'll build out a custom exercise program for you, no matter your experience level or where you want to work out. Most of our clients are working out for like 30 or so minutes 3 times a week at home. And that's very doable for them, and that helps to get that routine and that cadence for their health and for those long-term results that they're looking for. And then nutritionally, we help you know what to eat, how to eat for your body, and what's going on, like we mentioned with and tailoring it to and making sure that her body was absorbing the nutrients that she needed, getting the right amount that she needed, and teaching you what we're doing so that you have that knowledge in your head for the rest of your life. And our third pillar is actually accountability mindset. And another one of our clients, Kat, she came to us. She's also a corporate girl turned mom. She had her third baby and was really ready to like find herself again. She knew that there were things going on. But honestly, like on the surface, she was low energy, of course, needed coffee to function. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But she actually knew a good amount about health from a perspective of like food and macro counting, but she was stuck. And actually, it was her mind that was keeping her stuck. Like many of us, she fell into like that all or nothing camp where, you could basically apply that to any situation for her. Like if she was out with friends, like she would drink and she would regret it, or she would start her health journey and cut calories and binge on the weekends, or she was ready to make a change but started with a new routine that was like impossible to stick with for over a week, you know? So when she came to Power Pose, of course, we worked on her hormone and gut health, but we also worked on her mind. And the coolest part is we gave her the tools to manage her mind and not just be a band-aid fix. So it wasn't just like we forced her into her new routines and her tendencies, but we actually helped her to rewire some of what was going on and actually change who she is and how she genuinely shows up. And I think like the best example that she shared with us is she recently went on vacation and it was an amazing week for her because she was so fully present. She said she was fully herself, joyful, intentional, and that's truly not the kind of person that she was just a few months ago. And so this is all possible because of the one-on-one coaching that we have. Each of our clients are paired with one of the three coaches at Power Pose. So you can kind of imagine like a practitioner, a coach, and a fitness bestie all in one. You have weekly accountability checkpoints with your coach, but you also, on top of that, can reach out anytime for support. And that support can look like, hey, I'm going out to eat. Like, what should I pick? Or, hey, I want more info on my labs and what that data is showing. Anything is fair game, and that's the coolest part. And both of these ladies and all of our clients, to be honest, have changed their own lives. Yes, but they've also changed the atmospheres of their homes. Like when they feel strong, confident, focused, they show up that way. And they're more patient, they're more forgiving, more loving. Their family notices it, and it's truly a gift that keeps on giving and building, which is so amazing and truly like the epitome of enjoying motherhood because of who you are and how you're influencing and impacting the people of your home. So if you're sitting there wanting to make a forever change and you're like, okay, how do I do this? Or you see yourself in one of those girls, one of our clients that we featured, I'm going to drop a link to a free strategy call for people in the masterclass. You can open that link, find a time to book with either me or Casey on my team. I'll put that in the chat. And so that way, you don't have to have any more questions. You don't have to be blindly Googling or overwhelmed with information and just having no clue where to start. We'll give you next steps that make sense for you and can be the start of honestly the rest of your life and the rest of a joyful, beautiful motherhood and home within your world.